Hey guys, it is still May, therefore it is still the month of mental health awareness, and this week specifically was dedicated to children's mental health awareness. So I'm going to do a really quick video today talking to you about ADHD and ODD. ADHD being attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and ODD being oppositional defiance disorder. Now when we look at ADHD, we know that some of the risk factors include genetics, which that plays a part in our lives in general. So we're talking about genetics. We're talking about, did your mom smoke when she was pregnant with you? Did she abuse alcohol and drugs when she was pregnant? Were you in an area, or was your parent in an area where they were exposed to environmental toxins, or were you exposed as a young child? And that even goes back to lead paint. You guys, lead paint, there's a reason why they don't do lead paint anymore. Did you have a low birth weight? Have you suffered some type of a brain injury? These are the type of things that can cause you to have ADD, ADHD type symptoms. So you have to be very vigilant. And this, I'm going to say to every parent, every aunt, every cousin, every brother, every sister, we are each other's keepers. We have to be very, very, very vigilant. And we have to know what's going on with these children. What happens is, if in fact you do not have a faculty at the student school that is up to par, they are not going to help you. And to be quite honest with you, they're dealing with hundreds, even thousands of students. It's not really their complete responsibility to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do as a parent. As a parent, a part of your job is making sure that your child is getting all resources they need. If you are unable to find them, that is what social workers and school counselors are for. They will point you in the right direction. So please forgive my rant. But when we talk about ADHD, we're talking about that child who's considered a problem child. That child who can't sit still. They're fidgety all the time. You know they're smart. You know it's in there, but how do you get it out? Well, some of the treatments for ADHD include medications. You have your non-stimulant medications, which I happen to prefer, and you have your stimulant medications. Your stimulant medications often have some side effects that include sleep problems, personality changes, increased anxiety and irritability. These are things you're going to want to monitor while your child is taking medicine. And the non-stimulants, in my opinion, are the best. They don't change the child's personality so much, but again, every child is different. You have to be very, very vigilant. Monitor your child, take notes of how they're behaving, take notes of how they're eating. And generally, if a doctor prescribes a medicine, there is a trial phase for which they want you to do all these things. Come back, let them know how it went. If it went okay, cool, we'll continue with this medicine. If not, we will change medicines. Now, one of the other treatments that is included in, well, not necessarily included, because some people choose to just go with medicine, but one other treatment that is available to people who have ADHD or ODD is therapy. I am a huge believer in cognitive behavioral therapy. I am a huge believer in behavior modification. I can give you medicine, and it can slow down some of the behaviors that you may have had, or slow down some of the thought processes that bouncing around in your head. But is it really going to change your behavior? I mean, think about it. Behavior is a learned thing. If you're doing the same thing over a long course of time, you're going to continue to do those things. That's why it is my recommendation that even if you put your child on medication, you couple it with some type of therapy, more specifically a behavior modification program. Behavior modification is going to teach your child how to monitor themselves based on a punishment and reward system. So, say for instance your child goes to school, they do real good. Okay, cool. You have a praise that's set up for them. A lot of classes, a lot of teachers are starting to use Class Dojo. If you don't know about it, you need to look it up. It is the bomb. Yeah, I'm older. Class Dojo allows your teacher to input, okay, your student earned 1 point today for obeying the rules or sitting at their desk or completing a test. Okay, your student lost the point because they didn't do those things, or they kicked somebody, they hit somebody, they did something that they weren't supposed to be doing. This allows you to have a constant communication with what's going on in your child's classroom. There's also a place where you can message teachers back and forth. You can see photos of what's been going on in the class. All of these things are available to you through Class Dojo. I recommend everybody tell your teacher, if they don't use it, to use Class Dojo or something of that nature. This way, when you ask your child how was school, and they be like, oh, okay, it was good. Perception is reality. They were like, it wasn't as bad as it was, or yeah, I'm going to tell mama and daddy I did good because I don't want to be in. You know, this gives you a direct path to the teacher. You know what's going on in the classroom pretty much as it goes on. Some teachers use it more often than not. My godson's teacher is pretty good at it. Even if he doesn't do it on a daily basis, we get a weekly summary of how he was doing. We can communicate back and forth. He knows that we're watching it. He knows that these points are happening. And he knows that weekend activities are only determined by his weekly behavior. So he's very, okay, I did good. What am I getting? But here's the other part of that. You have to be very careful that you're not teaching your child that the only reason why they're doing something good is so that they can get something in return. But if you seek out a therapist, a behavior modification therapist, a marriage and family therapist, a regular therapist, all of these people will teach you how to utilize this system so that it is most beneficial for your child. So we talked about meds, we talked about treatment. We're on therapy. The most important thing that a family can do for a child, even a child who does not have a mental illness, disorder, however you want to call it, the best thing you can do for that child is be vigilant, be aware of what's going on with them. We talked about yesterday the suicide rate being so high for students or for youth. This isn't a game. This isn't a joke. People are really losing their lives because they don't understand why they are the way they are. They can't figure it out. They don't know how to change it. And we have to make sure we're there for them. We have to make sure we're helping them. See, the cool thing about marriage and family therapy, and this is just from my personal marriage and family therapy experience with wanting to be a marriage and family therapist, always looking at it as, ooh, marriage and family therapy brings in the entire family. Sits everybody down, and it teaches everybody how they are playing a role in that perceived problematic person's behaviors and their patterns. So I know a lot of times we get children who will run to mama say no, so she run to daddy be like, yeah, go ahead. Mama and daddy end up fighting because I told him not to do that. So now the child has figured out how they can play one against the other and play the system. Marriage and family therapy will sit the family down and say, okay, this is what's going on. This is the outer circle to this center, this core issue. These are ways that we can fix it. Now, the thing about ADHD is you want to be very careful. You don't want to automatically go and say, oh, they got ADHD. Let's diagnose them. Let's get them on medicine. Let's put them in therapy. You don't want to do that. And I'll go back to our example. My godson showing out at school. We getting phone calls left and right. I'm at the school all the time. There's something wrong. You know what our first step was? We have a very good doctor, very good therapist. The doctor says, okay, here's the evaluation form. Take this evaluation form to the school. Let 2 of his teachers fill this evaluation form out. The evaluation form asks questions. Are they able to listen? Are they able to concentrate? Do they do this? Do they do that? It's probably about a 2-3 page survey to kind of figure out, is this child really ADHD? The other thing we did was put him in therapy. One thing we learned in therapy was that his environment was playing a huge role in who he was and who he had become. This kid had been through a lot. On top of the fact that his mother was probably not in the best state of mind while she was pregnant, which led her to do some things that she probably would not have otherwise done. He had then seen her rush to the emergency room every time we turn around, she has a seizure disorder. So she's constantly having seizures, and I mean grand mal seizures, and she's constantly being rushed to the doctor. He's constantly seeing the ambulance, the fire department, all of these things. So And they asked, do you think these things could be playing a part in who he's becoming, how he's behaving? So we were very, very careful in not just saying, oh, he has ADHD, put him on medicine, put him on this, do that. What we did was we said, okay, we're going to wait it out. We're going to see how his behaviors change. Are they getting better? Are they getting worse? Well, what happened in between that time was standardized testing came up. He was not capable of grasping or learning any of the information that he needed to learn for his age because he couldn't sit still. So, of course, he's doing poorly on standardized testing, which led them to diagnosing him with a mild intellectual disability. Because of this, he was placed in a special needs and disabilities class. And I mean, within his class, we're talking all spectrums of autism. We're talking about students who have effectively been diagnosed with ADHD. We're talking about students who have some other mental disabilities, not necessarily physical disabilities, but some other mental disabilities. And it was a war zone. It was students climbing over here, students climbing over there. This child is afraid to be touched. This child right here is obsessed with this. This child is this, that. It was a war zone, and it was horrible. I personally do not agree with placing ADHD students in these types of classrooms. When you have children with multiple spectrums of mental disorders, placing them in one classroom together, as a parent walking in the class, I'm like, oh my God, this teacher needs help. And then there was a classroom, there was no help. She had no student teachers or assistant teachers, no grandmas. Well, we used to have grandmas when I was growing up. They had none of that. So there was this one teacher with, I think, about 9 boys in this classroom who all had different disabilities. They all had different needs that needed to be met. She couldn't do it by herself. So we got hooked up with this company, got this guy who knew some people, and we, voiced our complaints. And now he has a teacher who's a little bit more understanding of the needs within the spectrum of disabilities. He has 2 to 3 assistants in the classroom. The kids are now in a place where they can go to other classes. They can break out and go to a science class with these students or go to a social studies class. The students are on a reward and punishment system that they look forward to. And you will go in the classroom now, there's nobody climbing all over stuff. There's nobody doing all this stuff. And I mean, even with some of the students who have ADHD that are not on medicine, but are in the class because they are perceived to have ADHD and have not passed the exams, even they are behaving better. So don't be quick to do the medicine route if you have not stopped to think about the environment that your child is in. Think about how you are positively or negatively impacting your child. And really quickly, let's talk about ODD. I almost forgot I was supposed to be talking about it. Oppositional defiance disorder is what many of us call a phase. It's what that teenage girl goes through. It's what that boy goes through when they're just being completely oppositional and defiant in every single way. This child is angry. They're not doing what you tell them to do. And the difference is it does not seem to be coming from an impulsive place. They're just not going to do it. Again, these are things that behavioral modification therapy can assist with. When you put your child on a punishment and reward system that is overseen by a behavior mod therapist or a family and marriage therapist, you're going to see a difference. And don't think these things don't happen overnight. You have to stay steadfast. You have to be strong and willing to make the sacrifice to get the child where they need to be. So again, it's Children's Awareness Week. I don't think I have anything else to say on the matter, but I may come back. I'm not exactly sure because I'm supposed to be working. Shh. But it's very important. It all boils down to getting your children help when they need help, making sure you are vigilant, making sure you are a part of their community. And I get it. People work 9 to 5. People work 8 to 12. People work all day and all night and don't have time to go to the school. I definitely suggest you guys recommend Class Dojo to your teachers. Do not allow your teachers in or district to make rules and regulations that negatively impact your child without first understanding what's going on with your child. You have a voice. You have PTA. You have school board meetings. You have all of the things, and you should be involved. If you cannot go there physically, write letters, write emails, get phone numbers, make phone calls. The fact of the matter is, no matter what your child is diagnosed with, whether it's depression, major depression, ADHD, ODD, any of these things, you have to be an active part of your child's community in order for them to grow and get better. So, like I said, I think I'm done. If I have anything else, I'll come back. Don't tell nobody I was over here. I'm supposed to be at work. That's a whole nother story. Y'all have a good one. Continue to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. Continue to let the people around you know that it is okay to get help when you need help. Be mindful of who you lend your brain to. Be mindful of who you lend your mind to. Make sure you understand that it takes a village to raise a child. And in order for us to make a positive impact on our children, we need to restructure the village, because something happened along the way where we're not the village we used to be, and it's time for a change. So make today great, because only you have that power.